Hello, Dr. Tonslot here with the basics of BPM. We'll be using Göll on easy and show you all you need to know to beat Asgard I. Every action in BPM happens on, you guessed it, the beat. You may have noticed those grey arrows sliding towards the center of your screen, and those indicate the whole and a half beat, and in theory you could also play using only those. In much the same way that, in theory, I could be an astronaut. It's possible, but I doubt it. So instead, you will have to play by ear. Use wired headphones if you can. Just as in comedy, timing is everything. Bluetooth headphones tend to have pretty unreliable timing, though a set of wireless, non-Bluetooth gaming headphones might work. In the beginning, you might find it difficult to synchronize your actions to the beat. My best advice is to turn up the volume until it's pretty darn loud, and then turn it up some more.
These count to 11.
I could ramble on for hours how sensory stimulation and trains cognition, but let's just say that turning up the volume will help you stay on the beat. Now, when you enter a room, the most important advice I can give you is the one adorning the cover of that wholly unremarkable book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Which is to say, don't panic. Panic and you will miss the beat. Panic and you will die. Stay calm. These mobs may look menacing, but they too act on the beat. Use your dash and jump ability to move around. Then, when you have some distance between yourself and those nasty critters, carefully line up your shots and start taking them out. In the beginning, your pistol does not do a whole lot of damage, and it has a limited range, so you may have to get closer and shoot some enemies multiple times. And this brings us to part 2. Just like in real life, in Asgard you will often see the same type of enemies. Worms are slow, sluggish and easy to avoid, so don't worry about them when you enter a room. Bats, on the other hand, are the spawn of Satan, and they now live in Asgard after being kicked out of hell for being too evil. You want to shoot these oversized fireflies right in their shiny evil heads before their fireballs turn you into a crispy Valkyrie burger. Concluding our zoological expedition is a triplet of spiders. If you were hoping for a tasty omelette, I'm afraid I have disappointing news. Those eggs you see contain spider hatchlings. They will hatch randomly when you shoot an egg or after all other enemies in a room have been cleared. They're easy enough to deal with, but make sure they don't hatch out of sight and attack you from behind. Nobody likes tiny spiders in their hair. The larger regular spiders like to charge and jump at you. Shoot them in their abdomen for maximum damage, and when you see the spider train coming, just get out of the way. Lastly, giant spiders act much like regular spiders but have more health. Luckily, they also have a weak spot. Can you guess what it is? If you guessed that massive bright shiny crystal on their back, then congratulations, you win the prize of not dying. In addition to regular enemies, you may encounter one of the mini-bosses. Of these, the giant bat has the most health and does ranged attacks. Good old circle strafing will work well enough against this Batman wannabe, and as always, aim for the head. The second mini-boss, Igneous Red, is rather easier to deal with once you know the trick. Shoot him in the head until Igneous Red is dead. To dodge his ground AoE attack, simply jump over it. Some special rooms may spawn depending on the almighty random number generator. These are marked on the map so you know in advance what unspeakable horror lurks behind door number 3. The challenge room allows you to trigger progressively more difficult waves of enemies in exchange for reward chests. Enemies are chosen randomly and can include more difficult enemies. I generally advise against doing more than one round of a challenge room unless you have a way to recover any lost health. You can enter the library in exchange for a key and get a new secondary or ultimate ability. These are almost always worth it, that should be prioritized over opening chests if you do not yet have a good secondary or ultimate ability. Chest rooms are named after the fact that they contain enemies. No wait, chests. If you have a spare key, they're usually worth it. Hugin's shop sells a number of awesome upgrades. The more money you spend here, the more items become available, and you will even get a free health potion if you spend enough. Items are random, but often include keys and max health upgrades. Whenever possible, increase your max health. Munin's armory is similar, but sells weapons and damage and clip size upgrades. Weapons are usually a bit too expensive in Asgard I, but the clip size upgrade can be extremely useful. Again, the more you buy from Munin, the more options will become available. Before entering the shiny door, make sure you get all the upgrades you can. Otherwise, in the words of Mr. Stormrage,
you are not prepared!
The Draugr has 5 different attacks. He can summon 3 homing dragon ghosts, which you should shoot before they reach you. He has a floor attack, which can be evaded by jumping up, by dodging, or by hiding behind cover. His large area attacks damage half of the arena, so strafe left, right to avoid them. Lastly, his slow and fast projectiles can be avoided relatively easily if you just dodge and circle strafe. And that is it. Enjoy your key and your big chest reward, and good luck in the next levels. Tonslot signing off.